Hi, everyone, and welcome. Thank you very much for our repeat joiners who joined us last time we had the technical difficulties. It's fabulous to see you all being able to join us today, and we're really excited to bring you today's webinar, which is great. All right, so good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, Building a Resilient Business. My name is Nicole Walker, and I'm the Senior Manager, Alumni Engagement, and I'm delighted to be your host here today. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands on which we are meeting and pay my respect to elders past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. We're really happy to bring you today's webinar as we approach the holiday season. There's lots of events and entertaining family and friends, and we're all looking for new recipes to try. It's also that natural time of the year where we start to plan our goals and growth opportunities for the coming year. And our guest speaker today will share her own story of growth and expansion, plus a few great recipes for us to try. Today's session is being recorded and a stenographer is providing live captions. If you'd like to access those, please click on the link posted in the chat. Our keynote speaker for today is Kim McCosker. Kim is the driving force behind 4 Ingredients, one of Australia's most trusted food brands and most recognised. With 37 cookbooks, millions of global sales and a range of kitchenware, 4 Ingredients has become a household name. Kim's journey from small startup to formidable publishing house offers invaluable lessons on entrepreneurship, content reusability, and staying true to your values. Her accolades include winning the best-selling category at the World Gourmand, should have checked how to pronounce that with you, Kim, Cookbook Awards, and being named Griffith Business School Entrepreneur of the Year in 2017. Kim is, of course, a graduate from Griffith University, part of the class of 1999, completing her Bachelor of International Finance on the Gold Coast campus. So welcome, Kim. I'm going to bring you on screen now so you can say hi to everyone. Wave.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Nick. Lovely introduction.
You're very welcome. So for today's session, we're going to hear from Kim and her journey to and from Griffith. Then I'm going to let Kim take over and she'll talk us through some of her favourite entertaining recipes. And then, of course, as always, we'll offer the floor for our audience to answer, to ask any questions they would like. So to kick things off, Kim, could you tell us a bit about how you first came to Griffith and the journey to the initial beginnings of 4 Ingredients?
So I grew up in a very small country town out west of Bundaberg, and I went to boarding school on the beautiful Gold Coast, and I was class of 87 and was accepted and deferred university for a year because all of Queensland class of 87 went to work at Expo 88, which was fantastic and opened our eyes up to a world we didn't even know existed. I remember the second person I ever served a burger to down on the boardwalk was from Uruguay, and I had to go home that night and get out my old encyclopedia and learn where Uruguay was. So it was just an amazing time. And then at the end of that year, I deferred university, Griffith again. I was accepted to do a hospitality management course back then because I wanted to go traveling. And I bid adieu to my mum and dad, my brothers, and said, I'll see you in a year. I've got to come back, go to uni. And of course, 1 year turned into 4. And in that time, Nick, I learned that I have an exceptional skill, very, very good at spending money. So when I came back from overseas, I changed my whole game plan and went, don't really need to worry about hospitality because I'd worked in every dive bar, 2-bit pub in London, to EOS and the Greek Isles. I was down with hospitality. I actually and I could work, you know, Aussies have got such a great work ethic. We just go and get 2 or 3 jobs to save what we need for the goal we're wanting to achieve. But what I couldn't do, what I didn't have the skill set to do was to take a dollar and turn it into 2. So that's when I went back to Griffith and said, okay, you know, what courses do you have to upskill me in the art of money management and commerce? and I enrolled to do a Bachelor of International Finance because I loved travel, I loved capital markets, I loved knowing how money worked, not just in Australia because we're so little on the world scale, but how it worked in other markets as well. And that's what I did. That's really what led me to Griffith Uni. You know, like I didn't even look at any other university. I loved the Gold Coast. I loved the lifestyle of it. I loved being able to wake up and walk on the beach. I've just always, to this day, I now live on the Sunshine Coast, and I feel that that single act of a morning helps me recalibrate. Busy day after busy day, it recalibrates it. You watch the ocean and you just think, how blessed am I to live here? How blessed are we to have this on our front door? How blessed are we to have an ocean this grand that is free to access? So, you know, I've always loved the ocean. I never looked at any other university. It was always Griffith on the Gold Coast. So like Brisbane, I didn't even entertain because they have no beautiful beach, and the Sunshine Coast then didn't even have a university. So that's what led me to Griffith, and it's been a fantastic association with this amazing university ever since, to be honest. Very blessed. I actually count my time at Griffith as one of the pillars, the degree that I did as one of the pillars of strength of 4 ingredients. And the reason 4 ingredients went on, you know, because everyone can write a book. I mean, I'm living proof any nutter can write a cookbook, clearly. But I think that there are certain skill sets that set you up. And I think, you know, what I had learned through my degree and then through working in the finance industry a decade after that, you know, sort of really set me up to challenge things when my business started to accelerate.
Awesome. And so I love hearing that journey and that story. And so obviously you did your degree here at Griffith, and then I guess what was the next step? How did the first book come about? And it was such a success, that first one. Where would the initial idea come from? And could you talk us through that part of the journey?
So just briefly, from Griffith, I actually got a graduate position with a company called MLC, which was funds management, insurance, etc. That was later bought by NAB, but I got a graduate position out of university. So I started there in January 1999. And then really it was after the birth of my second boy. I now have 3 beautiful big boys in their 20s, but back then I had 2 little boys. And it was after the birth of my second, I took a year's maternity leave and I went looking for the world's easiest cookbook. And this was, Nick, like you got to rewind, and those viewing, some of you will know this if you're a mature age, some may not. But back then, 16 years ago, you know, this is pre-social media. So television, TV was king. It was how we absorbed, it was TV and radio. We absorbed information of a night time. And it was Jamie Gordon and Nigella. They were on our screens 5 nights out of 7, peak hour every night. They were showing us how to make these grandiose concoctions. Like I remember watching avidly how Nigella whipped up a luxurious asparagus custard. Like I am never going to make that. I have never made that. But she piqued my interest. So into the kitchen I'd toddle with my 2 little toddlers. And there I had bacon, eggs, puff pastry, and an onion. You know, like, so these shows were great. They got me interested. They, you know, took me from the couch into the kitchen. But then I just needed a really simple tool to help me, a busy mum, working full-time mum in a very stressful industry, male-dominated industry, to help me get good food on the table fast. So literally at that point in my life, I went looking for the world's easiest cookbook, couldn't find it, and then proceeded to, as we do, you know, when we have a need and we can't find a way to fulfill it, we kind of create it ourselves. And this is, I guess, you know, a real innate kind of strength of an entrepreneur. They'll just go and find the solution for their problem. That's what we do. So, and a lot of entrepreneurial ideas really have come from that. You know, you have a problem, you go to fix it, and bang, then you have a business model or a business idea. But, you know, this is the very first book I ever wrote. This is the last book I've written, so there's a huge difference. But literally, I opened up my computer. I don't even think I had a laptop back in those days, and a Word document, and I started typing into that Word document the recipes that resonated with me. I wanted a simple tool that I could sort of just open up. You know, I didn't want a recipe book that had 17 ingredients and one was a spatchcock at 10 to 6 on a Wednesday evening. I wanted quick, easy, and delicious. So this really went on to become the manuscript that was my very, very first little cookbook. So if any of you have ever seen this, you'll see that nearly every second recipe is attributed to someone that I knew in my life at that time. And that turned out to be a really clever marketing ploy, because, if you put someone's name in something, there's a little bit of ownership towards that product. So little did I know, by doing that, 400 recipes of which half are attributed to someone, they weren't just going to go and buy one cookbook. Nicole Walker's, beautiful passion fruit pie, she was going to go and buy 6 copies and give it to everyone she'd ever met as a gift, because she was in the book. So that's how the very first little book, and it come about because if I had met you with my kids' sideline at soccer that year, or tennis or swimming or whatever extracurricular, we would have invariably started talking about the kids' party we got coming up, or the anniversary dinner we got to make, or the Christmas feast we got to prepare for. And you would have shared with me recipes that were your family's favorites with 3 or 4 ingredients. I would have went home, tested them out, made them. Oh my God, hey, presto, they were. Into the manuscript they went. And along the way, everyone that I met in those conversations said, geez, I'd love that book. Geez, my husband needs that book. Geez, my father needs, my kids, my neighbor, someone in their life always needed that book. And that book became this little book that had a green cover, had no pictures, was written, or very few, was written by someone that had no culinary background or expertise, that the trade said would never, ever sell, because it wasn't Jamie Gordon or Nigella, and has since gone on to become the 7th largest publishing house in Australia and spanned another 40-odd cookbooks. So beautiful people, don't let people tell you it won't work. It will. Set your goal. I mean, there's no secret shortcut to success. Set your goal. I had a goal. I wanted to write a very simple cookbook. Well, I wanted a tool full of recipes that morphed into a cookbook, that morphed into 4 ingredients. And, then it was just goal after goal after goal. How do I upskill myself in marketing? How do I get my message out there? How do I connect? How do I improve my public speaking persona? Because that allows you to stand on a stage in front of hundreds of people and exacerbate your message. So, it was just bit by bit. I went, okay, what are my challenges? What are my goals? And then it's just hard work and determination to get to them.
It's amazing. It is. Just congratulations, Kim. And that book, I mean, it was the best-selling book in the world behind Harry Potter, and it's still requested daily today. You're still selling copies of it today. So it's certainly stood the test of time, stood the test of the internet, TikTok, everything. So, it's just incredible that it's just going.
There's over 3 million copies sold
3
worldwide.
million. Wow.
Which, I know, little green cover books never going to sell. Green cover books don't sell. You're not famous. There's no pictures. You don't own a restaurant. Blah, blah, blah. Don't take no for an answer, beautiful people. Go forth. If you think it's a good idea and you're just representative of a large tranche of the population, which I was, chances are a large tranche of the population will think it's a good idea too.
That's amazing. And so when you, like you said, that was the first book, and then I think you're holding up book number 37 there for us. That decision to grow and expand the business, did that happen organically, or you did it deliberately? How did those next opportunities present themselves to you, or how did you go out and seek them for yourself?
Find them. So no, it was really consumer led. And, because in writing 4 ingredients and in promoting that everywhere, people would just give us so many recipes. So that spawned a very cleverly named follow-up book, 4 Ingredients 2. And then when I was promoting both of those, everyone would say, well, what of all of the recipes in here are gluten-free? So that then spawned 4 Ingredients gluten-free. And because I didn't even know what gluten was at the time, like, God, Nick, I thought it was pronounced glutton. I went, yep, that's me. I've got that disease. I actually got in touch with, having a degree, you research everything. So I researched gluten, I researched celiacs, I researched the 1 in 10 Australians, experts say have celiacs, but 7 out of 10 remain undiagnosed and live with the symptoms of it unknowingly. So I reached out to Celiac Australia and said, hey, I've got these 2 massively popular titles. I want to take the best from within and write a book called 4 Ingredients Gluten Free. as a really easy tool for these people that are being diagnosed with these autoimmune diseases and freaking out. So, and that was another clever marketing tool. Like, I was doing it because I wanted the credibility, from someone far smarter than me. But what I didn't realize is that if you can associate yourself with someone far smarter than you, they'll also generally have a much bigger database than you. And if you do something together that is really good, they will then market it for you. So you can see my little book here, 4 ingredients, small, gluten-free, lactose-free. That little logo there is Celiac Australia's logo. And, the second, that gave them ownership. We did this collaboratively together. They've got, gluten-free dietitians and nutritionists, the same as Diabetes Australia. I wrote this with their dietitians. They're amazing wealth of information. And then they take ownership of this as well. Like, I'm like, what do you think of this recipe? What if we change the whole, self-raising flour to wholemeal? How do you think that would increase fiber? Would that decrease? So they were brilliant. So they bought into my enthusiasm, and together that links me into a database in excess of 3 million people and a database in excess of 5 million people. So, like from a business perspective, that was just clever as well.
That's amazing. It really is amazing. And obviously, despite the substantial growth and profit in the business, it's clear you're still living out your core values, and being able to perhaps even truly focus on them, particularly through your family, your philanthropic work, the quality of the product that you're producing, and creating that workplace culture as well with the people you choose to spend your time with each day. Could you talk us around the deliberate steps you've taken to protect those values, and how you make them shine brightly? If there's an example when you really had to, drill down on them and commit to them for what you're wanting to achieve and stand up for in your life.
I think, Nick, like most people, I grew up in a small country town, a hardworking family. We didn't want for anything. We were taught to work for everything. My nana used to drill into us, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. These are just values that I live by all the time. And in business, that's just personal values. But when it comes to business, I don't enter into anything unless I can see a clear win-win for everybody involved. So whether it's the retailer, the wholesaler, the distributor, the not-for-profit, the organization, the association. So I'm always just naturally looking, okay, well, if we do this together, how does everyone win? But above all of that, how does my audience win? What's in this for my audience? I kind of always put myself in the, shoes of my audience, and like, would showing my audience how to take a really cheap home brand block of cheddar cheese, putting some fruit and nut that I have in my fridge over the top of it, drizzling it with beautiful organic honey my next door neighbor just dropped off to me, and then picking some of my little edible flowers, would showing them on a live how to create a really pretty little plain cheese platter for less than $4 benefit them? The answer is yes. So then we do that. So everything that we do, we sort of always put our customer, first. How would this book benefit them? How would this recipe benefit them? How would this association benefit them? And then if it benefits them, they then become your mouthpiece. And that's just, like I've always tried to live my life where you're looking out for others all the time. And if you do that, they'll look out for you. And, because every now and then you might see the odd sort of opinion or negative comment on Facebook, or Instagram. We never even have to address it. We don't even have to address it because everyone else will come on in because they love us, they're loyal, they know how trusted we are, how hardworking we are, how authentic we are, and they will be well, I've never met these people, but they've been connected with me for a long time now on this journey, because they love quick, easy, and delicious, the same as me. And, they just have become our biggest champions. And I think we've amassed that kind of following because I've just always thought of them first. And yeah, I kind of just lived my life, like I woke up one day in 2014 and my next door neighbor told me she had breast cancer. 2 days later, I dropped the kids at school and went to the tuck shop to order their lunch. it was a Friday. They were tuck shop on Fridays. And the tuck shop convener told me she had breast cancer. The following Monday, one of my staff come in and crying. Her cousin in New Zealand had been diagnosed with breast cancer. So again, researcher, 1 in 7 Australian women will be diagnosed. 1 in 7 Australians, not just women, will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. Like, that is an astounding figure. So then we just reached out to the National Breast Cancer Foundation. We end up writing a book called Cook for a Cure. We reached out to Big W. We said, let's do it exclusively with you. If you take 25,000 copies, we give away we give $4 from the sale of each copy to the charity. That's $100,000. That's a win-win-win for everyone. The book was so beautiful. It had a beautiful pink silk ribbon through the middle of it. We put it out to our audience. People traveling with cancer wrote us beautiful poems. They did pictures of them. They showed us. It was an extraordinary cookbook that raised nearly $250,000 all told when done. And then on the back of that, or through that journey, we then started doing an annual fundraiser, which this year it was held on the 15th of September, and we raised $78,000, which took our grand total of everything we've been doing for the last 10 years to more than $800,000. So, from something very little, and again, fact-driven, research-driven, consumer-driven, has come, has spanned what we've done for the National Breast Cancer Foundation and the wonderful work they do in the field of cancer research, not just breast cancer, cancer research. So, giving back is something that, is very near and dear to our hearts. And, I think, especially to the associations and Griffith, the people that have really helped shape my path, my career, have helped me. We kind of tend to stay associated. We don't talk to you every day, but we certainly, subscribe. I love looking at, every year who wins what awards and the reasons why and where they've gone on in the world and what they're doing. And I particularly take great joy about reading of all the young awards that you give and the innovators, the creators. I just think it's fantastic. And I just think the world really is your oyster, like I said.
Awesome.
No secret to success, just set your goal and work hard. It's really quite extraordinary what you can achieve.
Awesome, thank you. That ties in neatly to the next question, which I think you've already given so many pearls of wisdom in this space. But looking back at what you have achieved, and it really is still only a relatively short period of time in terms of your career, you've still potentially got, decades to go of things that you're still going to achieve, and the technology and the different content channels that you'll be able to access and move into is all still green fields, really. But for someone starting out today, so those younger students and alumni you were just referring to, what is some advice that you would give to them around making the most of opportunities and having that confidence to just take that first step? And I guess, as you said, you opened up the computer and we just started typing in Word. It wasn't a fancy publishing book or anything. It was just the bare basics. So I guess what's some advice you would give to anyone who's got a need and thinks they might have an answer for themselves and for their local community?
So I learned very early on that we are all in sales. Nick, you're in sales. I'm in sales. A surgeon's in sales. The CEO, beautiful Cleola of the National Breast Cancer Foundation, she's in sales because she's got to go and she's got to pitch her beautiful not-for-profit above everybody else's to get government supporting, private supporting, equity supporting, etc. So once you are down with no matter what product, what service, what field you work in, you are in sales, it becomes really easy for you then to, go forth and create and to do and to be. So whatever you are doing, start bringing people along the journey. And you don't even know what you're doing. For those of you who are just out of school and just into university, you don't even know. You've got the world ahead of you. And oh my God, the opportunities I can only imagine that lay ahead of you. But start to bring people along on your journey. That's what we did. We were very early adopters of social media because I had 2 little boys at the time, actually 3 by the time my first book was published. But yeah, and I was a very early adopter because I saw it as a great bridge to be able to connect me and my message from my own kitchen to the world. So that's how we've amassed, 800,000 followers on Facebook without ever having to pay. We've never paid for people. You are there because you found us organically, because you love our content, and because you've stuck. So, 110,000 followers on Instagram, and it goes on and on and on. So on any given day, we've got, the opportunity to speak to over 1 million people. So that keeps us very, very relevant. So, start to build your following today. Go and build, your LinkedIn, copy what you post there, put it onto Facebook. Once you've got onto Facebook or Insta, it can share simultaneously to either of those platforms. Everyone you meet, follow me here or wherever it is, whatever your preferred, if it's TikTok, if it's, YouTube, if it's Snapchat, whatever your preferred medium is, start to build your following now, because whatever you do, wherever you go, you are going to be in sales, and people are going to want to know what it is you're doing. You might test blood. Well, how do you do it different from everybody else? Obviously, with a business faculty, so but it's just crazy where we all end up. I went to business school and now I write cookbooks. Like, who on earth ever knew that would be the outcome of my degree? But my degree helped me where I am today. So start building your online following straight away. And I just think as well, you go outside your comfort zone. Like, I have become very, very good at public speaking. I do a lot of it now. I stand on stages in front of 5 people as effortlessly as I stand on stage in front of 1,000 people. I'm a registered speaker for ICMI. Like, never in a million years did I think that this was part of my future, but it's actually gone on to become, like a line on my P&L every year, the income I can generate from that. So I've cruised all over the world, either for free or paid, because of I'm able to sort of speak, I'm able to articulate. So I think, hone your skills in communicating. It is just such a skill to be able to communicate who you are, what you stand for, the messages that you have, why you're representing this, the benefit to the people you are trying to reach, when you're pitching your products in front of others. I kind of do it in a really raw way. I never use a teleprompter. I don't have legions of notes. I just speak from the heart. You can hear me stand on a stage 20 times and it'll be a different spiel. It'll be a different story. I don't know, start to build your following, learn who you are, what you stand for, how to communicate that. Upskill yourself in the art of marketing, because we are all in marketing. Take a course in marketing at Griffith through your degree if you can, or, go get a little bit of extracurricular, because everyone is in marketing. How do you do it sharper, faster, better than everybody else and stand out? Do you know why I chose Kermit the Frog Green when I first wrote this book? Because I did a recon. I was living in Brisbane at the time, Wavell Heights near Chermside. And if back then, 15 years ago, you went to Chermside, there used to be a big double-story Borders bookstore in the centre of the shopping centre. There was Angus and Robinson, Book City, Dimmicks. There was so many bookstores. This is, before Amazon, before online, Kindles, all of that. And I went and I just did some recon, and I just went, oh my gosh, all of these beautiful books, they're all pale blue, yellow, they're just lime, lilac, lemon. And I went, right, that's what we're doing. Because you're never going to influence anyone looking just like everyone. Stand out, make a difference. It was so ugly. Everyone picked it up. It just stood out. And then I got it into the airport news agencies, and that just stood out from a mile away too. So, and it became really popular there because people were flying home and then they had to pick the kids up, cook dinner. And so with just 4 ingredients, it was easy. So, try and stand out, whatever you're doing as well. And then build relationships with people, like Pet Cookbook. I wrote it with Dr. Glenn Richards, who founded pet barn and also Green Cross Vets, and then went on to become a shark on Shark Tank. So, you know, he read through it, gave me a beautiful endorsement, and there was my credibility. So, you know, try and align yourself with people that help you magnify, you know, what it is you stand for, and bring everyone on the journey, because that's how you build trust too. And then trust and familiarity, and then it turns to like and love, and then they're defensive of you and they're best champions. And you know, to witness this, follow us on 4 Ingredients. Our Facebook page obviously is probably on that era where, you know, we're still very much Facebook centric, and every day you'll just see the outpouring of love towards our brand, how we've helped people, we've saved them time, we've saved them money. It's revolutionized their time in the kitchen, and now we're going into generational. Mum grew up teaching us how to cook from this cookbook, or she cooked from this, so they're buying it. We're going into generational, so it's quite extraordinary, you know, the breadth and reach that we have now. But it's just stemmed from the humblest of beginnings. Unbelievable.
Awesome. It's amazing. That is so cool. Now I'm very excited now. We're going to hand the floor over to you, Kim, to take us through. I think you've got a couple of recipes or some ideas for us to share. So I'm going to hand over to you, and can't wait to see what you've got there for us for some quick and easy cooking options.
I looked, Nick, at what I had in. So I'm in my office. Welcome. I should have introduced. You know, we're welcome to Moffat Beach. This is 4 Ingredients headquarters, and I really just I had a look around at what I had, because I'm actually out to the South Burn at Wondai and Kingaroy tomorrow to do some work out there with their libraries and local councils, etc. So I'm taking some things out there. So I thought, okay, I'll make them now, and I'll just plate them up as I would tomorrow, and then I'll just wrap them and take them out tomorrow. So that was the world's easiest cheddar cheese platter, beautiful people. And it's just a little block of cheddar cheese with some dried fruit, nut, and beautiful organic, homegrown, home harvested honey over the top of it. It's the contrast, to me, a really pleasing, something pleasing to the palate. Has, you know, a little bit of sweet, a little bit of savory, a little bit of salty. It has all of the major flavors wrapped into one. That's when you get flavor magic. So that ticks all those boxes. I also love when you serve a little bit of cheese, a little texture, and you're getting the texture here. I've just got some toasted almonds and little pistachios as well, and then some cranberries and sultana. So that's really nice. So a little bit of, you know, a texture, as well as that sort of salty cheese, hard cheese, and sweetness of the honey combined together to create magic. And then I've got this little one, because we're coming in to Christmas, and you've got the obligatory, you know, end of year frat party, street party, you know, all your mates in your unit complex parties, colleagues, work. So you got to take a plate, or you've got to host. This is something that's behold your new best friend, beautiful people. This is called a white chocolate cheesecake ball. I know, be still our beating hearts, but this, in Australia, a cheesecake ball is generally savory. If you ask your mum or your aunt or your nana, it's a savory. This is a sweet. And I just simply whipped it up. I melted down a block of white chocolate, $4 on sale. I buy in season and on sale to save me time and money. I melted it down, 90 seconds, stirred it nice and velvety, a river of loveliness. I added a block, 250 grams of cream cheese, 3 tablespoons of icing sugar. Then I chopped up some pecan nuts, a cup of pecan nuts. I put a quarter into the mixture. I mixed all of that together and then chilled it. While that was chilling, I chopped up the rest of the pecan nuts, 3/4 of a cup. I pulled out that mixture of white chocolate, cream cheese, icing sugar, and pecans, rolled it into a ball, and then rolled it in my pecan nuts. And then I'm just serving it with some beautiful little gluten-free seeded crackers and some beautiful seasonal, lovely little strawberries. But you could do some apple wedges, some pear wedges. They're both in season at the moment as well. And they are just that is so lovely. Everybody loves it. And the other thing, everyone, you know, if anyone follows me, last week we did a live. We generally do a live every Tuesday, and it's really just what I'm cooking for dinner for my family that night, or if I've got to take a plate the next day, or if I've got a luncheon meeting, I'm walking you through what I'm actually doing myself. But I actually made these little truffles, which are that good that they made the front cover of our 4 Ingredients Christmas book, which is my go-to entertainer. So think this book if you got to take a plate, or you got to entertain, or want to do a nice anniversary dinner, or something special for someone you love in your life. But these are called cookies and cream truffles, right? And the primary ingredient is a sleeve of Oreos biscuits. Yes, thank you, America. The greatest gift you have given us is Oreos cookies, in my mere opinion. Nabisco, God bless you. And you just get 2 sleeves of those into your blender, create a beautiful fine meal, and then you add 4 tablespoons of cream cheese, mix them all together until there's no traces of white, roll them into little balls, and then melt whatever chocolate is on sale, milk or dark chocolate. Get your little balls, 2 forks, put your balls into your melted chocolate, pick one up with a fork, another up with a fork, let all the excess chocolate fall back down, put them into a paper-lined tray, repeat, chill, bring them out, and then garnish with whatever you've got. So I've used cocoa powder, edible glitter that you can buy at any Spotlight or, cooking shop, contrasting chocolates, nuts, dark chocolate and sea salt are a flavor combination that it just dances on your palate. So, so good. But that's one, right, you take. And I say to everyone this year, don't buy it, bake it, because everyone goes, oh my God, Kim, did you make those? How did you make those? Did you really make those? Are they homemade? And it dawned on me, in such a high-tech, fast-paced world, how highly valued something homemade is. So make those this year, really, really simple. And then I don't have a copy here. Oh, yes, I do. Here it is, beautiful people. This is actually a little book I wrote that was featured on Harvard's must-haves a couple of years ago, about 8 years ago, because they recognize that a lot of kids moving into a dormitory don't have much in the way of kitchen appliances, but they will always have one pot. So from this little book, you are making dishes like our chicken tikka masala, where you put a little bit of tikka paste, which is bought in the international aisle of any supermarket, tikka paste, into a non-stick frying pan, your one pot. We're dirtying one pot here, beautiful people. Then you chop up your chicken, because it's chicken, but if pork's on sale or beef's on sale, if you're vegetarian, start with sweet potato. Add that to your paste and bring it all together with a tin. So 2 tablespoons of tikka paste, 500 grams of chopped up protein, and then a 400-gram can of Heinz big red tomato soup. It is the combination of the tikka masala paste and the tomato soup that create flavor magic. And then at that point, whatever veggies you've got, you might have some spinach, some capsicum, shallot, corn, whatever veggie you've got, add that to that. You use the recipes in my cookbooks as a base. As a base, it's the best chicken satay ever. It is the nicest chicken tikka masala. It's the easiest savory beef. You use them as a base, and then whatever veggies you've got or fresh herbs, you add, to your one pot, because that's where you get additional micronutrients, etc., minerals and vitamins from. So, but that's one that, if there was one that I think, if this is kind of my midweek go-to Bible, Nick, this one is one pot, because not only am I I'm really trying to minimize the cleanup after the cook-up. That's what I'm trying to do, so that I get into the kitchen, cook, create, get out of the kitchen, and I'm free to spend the time and enjoy the dinner with my family as well. Like, I like the kitchen, but I do not want to spend needless amounts of hours in there. But the time I do spend in there, I want it to be effective. I want to make quick, easy, delicious, so that I can enjoy life with those I love as well. So there's just a couple of like, I could go on and on. Like, I've got a fruit cake here that I'm taking tomorrow. Look at this, beautiful people, made not with 4 ingredients, but just 3. And that single recipe, I reckon, would have sold over 750,000 copies of my original cookbook. That single recipe. So that's another thing, like, know what your champions are and hero in on them. But I think because of our Anglo-Saxon background, everyone's Nana or Aunt Margaret or Aunt Lorraine has a fruitcake recipe. We grew up watching our Nana make it. Hers had 16 ingredients. She started in November and ended up blessing it with the rosary beads. I was never going to even entertain trying to make a fruitcake until this one with not 4, but just 3 ingredients entered my life, none of which, right, are added sugar, eggs, butter, or cream. And it's so easy and it's so good and it freezes and it feeds so many and you make it for less than $10. And how good does that look? So, like, honestly, you'll be amazed what you can make with so few ingredients. Have a go. Like, you will just, and they're simple and they're good, and each has a star ingredient which adds the flavor, and that's what I've worked out for you. So because to me the most important ingredient in food is flavor. So every simple recipe, every 4 ingredient recipe has a star ingredient. That's your flavor profiler, and then you can just add whatever else. Like if you're making that fruitcake at home and you've got some ginger or you've got some nuts, add those. You might have a little bottle of rum, one for the cake and one for the cook. Stay happy, Nick. It's a festive time of year. So you can customize, use my beautiful recipes as a base and customize and make whatever you want.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. And we've got quite a few questions coming through. So I'm going to start asking them to you, if that's all right. We'll start running through them. All right. So our first one is you make establishing collaborations with big businesses sound easy. Can you give some tips on how to get in touch with the right people to be then able to articulate the win-win?
It is not easy, beautiful people. Diabetes Australia, I reckon I plugged away at for at least a year, trying to find the right person, because it's not a national body. It's state by state, and not every state has dietitians and nutritionists. So it was just the biggest runaround. But because I grew up with a type 1 diabetic brother, I was determined to find the person that could give me a positive, to help me. So, I just didn't take no for an answer. I just kept, I started with Diabetes Queensland. I started with juvenile diabetes. I went to their broader, then I went to New South Wales, ACT. Then I finally got to Victoria, and that is where I realized their dietitians and nutritionists sit. So it's not easy. It's really difficult establishing, collaborations with bigger bodies, but it is worth your effort. It is worthwhile when finally, it does. And I think that's another reason as well 4 ingredients has been so successful. I've never looked at, so many failures. Oh my God, Nick, so many failures. I am so resilient, just bounce back. But I've never really seen them as failures. I've always just thought, okay, it's just that one didn't work. What's the next? Or how do I do the next? It's just a simple keep going until you find the right person that can help you get the outcome you want. You know what your goal is. I wanted to write this book. I needed smarter people than me to help me do it. So I knew what my goal was, and I just kept chipping away at it until it became a reality. So not easy, time consuming, but very worthwhile when eventually it does happen. And if you don't give up, of course it will happen.
Excellent. Thank you. The next question is, have you created a recipe book with your sons, or will you?
Okay, they have always, you'll see they are on so many books. Look at this little one. And I've actually got this one here. They are all through this little book. So 4 Ingredients Kids, this has been a hugely popular book in the United States as well, but they are all through this book. They hate it now. Look at that's my eldest, who's now 22, in the bath full of bubbles on his head. Oh, that's his little first girlfriend, Ellie, who now lives on the Gold Coast. But they've, I needed, like, for example, the background for a recipe in breakfast called volcanic eggs. So I said to my beautiful little middle son, who would have been maybe 7 at the time, here's a bit of cardboard. Can you go and draw me some sort of dinosaur background? And look how amazing that is. So I then, Nick, and he did it on the inside of a shoebox eventually. And I ended up having it framed. It's on the wall in his room. So my kids are through every book I have ever written. They have taste tested everything. I taught them to cook basically out of one pot. They can all cook a good steak. They love the chicken pesto. They love the tikka masala. They can all make a really good sausage roll, like wrap it in pastry. They can all navigate a pie maker. So they're actually good catches if anyone's, and they are single. Just saying, Nick. I will be the nicest mother-in-law ever, because that's when I'll get my daughters. But yeah, no, they're that, and they hate it, but they were all part of my YouTube channel when we were building that, and they look back now and they cringe, and all their friends, they take extracts and put it on TikTok and have made avatars out of them, and it's all been extremely embarrassing and humiliating, and I pray God they don't sue me at some later point for mental health problems. But they're also very grateful. They know the opportunities 4Ingredients has afforded them, and the life we've gone on to be able to live, and they're also very, and I think as well, Nick, it's how during the middle part of building my brand, I built trust, because they did so many lives with me. They'd come on, they'd lick the bowl, oh, Mum, this is so good. Crikey, this is amazing. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful. They were so beautiful. Like now I'd have to write a check to get them to do a live with me. But, it's, they're very much, you buy my books, you'll see them all throughout it. Very much a collaborative. And they eat, they love food. So I value their feedback.
Awesome. That is great. Our next question says, thanks, Kim. Great session. Are you able to share what book you are working on next?
Oh, good question. So I've actually just come back on the weekend from a big expo at the ICC in Sydney, Care Expo, and there I got asked, probably diabetes was my most popular one there and one pot, but there I got asked more for FODMAP-friendly recipes. So FODMAP is an acronym of all the sugars in our daily diet. So think fructose, FODMAP, oligosaccharides, disaccharides, monosaccharides, et cetera, et cetera. So people have, problems digesting these. So if you think of a shallot, right, the white component of the shallot has natural sugars in it. So it will irritate someone on a FODMAP diet, whereas the green component of the shallot is fine. So garlic will irritate them, but garlic-infused olive oil won't. So we're on that journey. We're looking at, a really simple, easy FODMAP-friendly cookbook. So whether that, I have to do more research, but whether that ends up a physical book or whether that ends up an ebook, perhaps maybe to start with. And because, originally I wrote keto as an ebook after I was invited to cook on stage at the Eiffel Tower and in 2018. And it was so phenomenally popular. It morphed itself into a physical book that's been incredibly popular. But I wrote this book, Nick, because I had to lose 5 kilos before I went to France and put 4 kilos on eating fromage and baguette and everything else that's divine over there. And then I brought everyone along on the journey. And then they wanted the recipes in a format. So I just quickly put it out in an ebook, and then it morphed into a physical book that's been phenomenally popular. But I loved that diet because I realized you could have bacon, you could have cheese, and you could have a gin and tonic too, even. So I went, yep, I think that diet's for me. So there you go. If that's you, check it out.
Awesome. Thank you. That sounds great. Our next question is, from a marketing perspective, how do you decide what to do for Black Friday sales? What are you doing this year, possibly from a potential customer?
So potential customer, have I got a deal for you? We just actually, how we're talking about collaborations. So basically I am now 54, and if you go, anyone in their 40s, 50s, after childbirth, etc., you go to a dietitian or nutritionist, they're going to tell you need MSM in your daily diet. So I, again, did my research, found a Queensland-based company, 20 years old, family-owned, two guys, beautiful, beautiful people, amazing products. They basically pioneered MSM skincare and have gone on to mineral makeup and supplements. But because of my love of their products, we become quite, this is the problem now, Nick, and beautiful people watching. Once I'm in your life, you'll find I'm everywhere now. I'm like a little rash, I grow. But we've now collaborated with them for Black Friday. So what we are doing is, you know, our cookbooks range in price from $24.99 to $34.99. We're doing all for a flat $24. And for every cookbook that is bought, every order that is made for our Black Friday sales, which start this Thursday, actually, we are including a $25 Black Friday gift voucher from this company called Mismo. And, you know, like there is an MSM powder, for example, that usually retails at $38. Basically what they're doing for their Black Friday is giving you 25% off. So then that drops to, you know, whatever, then you $32, then you take your 25 off, and you can buy this now on Black Friday for $8. So we're constantly looking for ways to create a benefit to our audience. And I just think, well, our audience, knowing my audience, right, the bullseye of our audience is about a 44, 48-year-old woman. So she's going to, whether she knows it or not, but if she went to a dietitian, they would tell her she would need to increase her MSM supplements. So now we are going to be able to help her do that through our Black Friday collaboration with Mismo and, you know, this $25 gift card voucher. So I don't know, we've never really done a Black Friday collab like this before, so it'll be really interesting to watch to see how it goes. But I'm so invested in I love their products. I love that they nourish you on the outside and on the inside. I love that they're family owned. I love that they're passionate. I love that they're local. I love that they're Australian ingredients. I love that this MSN is nature's own anti-inflammatory. So, you know, think of arthritis relief, joint relief, sporting, you know, like think of healthy hair, skin, nails, you know, that's what you need MSM for, and anti-inflammatory. So that's this year's collab. So
awesome.
We'll have
that's
to
exciting.
touch base and see. I think it's really, and I'm really excited for it. It kickstart this Thursday, beautiful people. So you might want to get yourself a little signed copy of, shameless plug, Nick, of the easiest one-pot cookbook ever, because we will pop that in a little envelope, send it door to door, and you will also have that beautiful little voucher that you can scan your QR code and redeem your $25 voucher and get your MSM.
Love that.
It doesn't particularly taste the best, but I know it's really, really good for you. So there you go. Have some chewing gum on hand afterwards, or maybe put it in a smoothie or in some RJ or something like that. So yeah, Black Friday, you're always again trying to stand apart from everybody else. So, you know, we just sort of figured, okay, maybe by offering something that we know is good and love and benefit from to others, that might, you know, that might help. We'll see how we go. We're always trying. There's no right or wrong. If we knew the rules, Nick, I would be in the Dominican Republic's unavailable to talk to you because I'd be too busy having my next margarita. But, you know, I'm not. I'm here. So, you know, we're always experimenting. And I think that's, you know, the confidence, maybe the business school or my degree, I don't really know, part of it, you know, like it gives me, I just pick up the phone and, hey, this is me. And I'm naturally enthusiastic when I love something, and enthusiasm sells, you know. So, yeah, I don't know. It just, I think it's going to be a good little collab, one I hope that goes beyond Black Friday. So watch this space.
Awesome. Got time just for a couple of more questions. I'm not sure we're going to get to them all, but the next one is, you're so upbeat and it's wonderful to see. Could you talk us through a difficult time and how you approached it with your naturally optimistic approach?
I don't know. I don't let things get to me too much. Sometimes, you know, mother guilt, when I was raising my kids, sat here on my shoulder. She was weighing very, very heavily on me a lot. But, you know, I kind of just, tried to struggle my way through finding a bit of a work-life balance. I don't really know if I ever really found it. I just did, you know, and did the best I possibly could. But I don't know. I just don't. I'm naturally glass half full. everyone, who surrounds my, self. And here's my beautiful Mel. Come round to Melzy, who's worked with me now for 15 years. And like, she is sweeter than maple syrup, and she's filming you all and filming all your questions and answers and whatnot. So, together, even if we're having bad days, we just kind of, I don't know, when you've got good people, genuine people around you, they'll lift you up naturally. We're blessed to have good. I just saw my husband walk in while I was talking to you. We're blessed to have good hubbies. We both mums of 3 boys, and if we ever need volunteers, like we've got an event tonight we're putting on as well, Christmas Tree Laneway, Caloundra Strand, if anyone's downtown Caloundra tonight. So they'll come and help us. So
they've volunteered at our fundraisers each year. So no, we're very blessed in lots of ways.
We've got a really good, I think, like if you surround yourself with good people, they'll just naturally, and we partake in our 3 C's each week together, and they are champagne, Chardonnay and coffee. So I think that kind of helps us balance life out a little bit as well. So not necessarily in that order, Nick.
That's awesome. I was getting ready to write that down then, the 3 C's, but it's very easy to remember.
3 C's, I know. Hey, listen, and whoever, just if you could jot down whoever wrote the question or asked the question about the collaboration. My very first giveaway, I am going to do 1 pot and a $25 Mismo voucher.
We will work out who that was.
Jot down who that was and let me know, and then we'll put that in the mail as well. So our very first Mismo collab for Black Friday. Yay!
Perfect. That ties in perfectly to our next question, which is, you are a one-woman marketing machine like I've never seen. Will you write a marketing book one day?
Oh, okay, right. Mels, could you just grab me a copy of 10 Years In? Okay, whoever that person is as well, I'm going to send you a copy of 10 Years In, and just so you don't feel left out, a $25 Mismo Black Friday gift voucher too. But literally, I wrote this little book because I'm asked about marketing all the time. And I'm not I did basic marketing courses through my business degree. I probably wish in hindsight I had done more, to be honest. But literally the first 20 pages of this little book is my story of how I went door to door, of how I did it, the art of marketing, door-to-door sales, the PR machine. This is just all me. And this is my very first ever little article in, I think it was called the North Side Chronicle on the north side of Brisbane. So there's about 20 pages. It's like Marketing 101. And then this just goes on to, it's a little sort of inspirational, motivational book. And it just shares the beautiful quotes that help sustain me through the good times, the bad times, the tough times, the easy times. But I've just opened it up to this. Listen to this, beautiful people. Kitchens are made to bring families together. And together is a wonderful place to be. And I just think, isn't that just so true? A strong friendship doesn't need daily conversation or being together. As long as a relationship lives in the heart, true friends will never part. My best friends are still my friends from primary school. So the more colour in food, the more nutrients. So that's why if you watch my lives, I sprinkle everything with green. I have green on every, plate. Look at my beautiful rosemary, beautiful people. So, we've got this event tonight. So I just picked really lovely long. So to put, to garnish with what I'm doing tonight. So, when I've got rosemary like that, I'll get chicken as well, and I'll slice it, and I'll use these as the skewers, and then I'll do them, and that imparts a little bit of flavour because, if you can grow rosemary well, it goes wild. So, lots of beautiful little things. So just jot down who asked that as well, but that would give you a really good little indication of how I sort of started. Like door to door, literally. Oh, it was very scary, Nick. But anyway, woo, we got through it. Nothing of value comes easy. It all takes, hard work.
Yeah. Now we have hit time, unfortunately. There was one question here though around I'll just read it quickly. Food tolerance is something that could go wrong writing a dog book a book on dog food, something the person is interested in doing, when there's so many changes to scientific data, how do you deal with information in a written book if the information or the science changes, I guess? So have you had that come up where
Very
trends
much
or
so.
yeah?
So when I wrote gluten-free, lactose-free, I wanted to actually put the brands next to the product. So like, for example, your satay chicken, your red curry paste, right? And my personal favorite is AM's, and it's certified gluten-free. It's all natural. It's vegan friendly. There's no fish sauce in the red. There's fish sauce in the green. I wanted to put that in there, but Celiac Australia would not let me do it because I just thought it would be, again, putting myself in my customer's shoes. It would be easy for them to know which brand is to go and buy without actually having to look at all of them and look for the certification. But they said no, because manufacturing processes and systems change, and what might be deemed gluten-free this year may not be next year. So I had to then dumb it all down and then just write red curry paste, and then you have to go. So, I had to keep it generalized. The same as well when I wrote my little, the pet cookbook. You'll see that, I've got a key up here and it tells you what's egg-free, what's gluten-free, because you'll be surprised how many pets have allergies and intolerances, and what's wheat free, what you can freeze, what's peanut free, etc. So, but everything's very general. And I think as well, because my recipes aren't 16 ingredients, they're 4. And generally, because I grew up in a small country town, I love fresh. I love whole foods. I love whole ingredients. Like I try and use as much of them as I possibly can. So I mitigate problems. Yeah, I mitigate that actually because it's also simple, and then it's very general. So, but like if people then reach out to us, they get this and they reach out to us online and say, oh, what curry paste did you use? There, I will share with them what I use, not a problem. So, if you've got any questions, we use Facebook and Instagram as our voice to the world. So any questions there, I mean, we're middle-aged and we do try to work with speed, but sometimes it might take us a couple of days, but we do genuinely try to get back to everyone when we can. So awesome. Hang in there with us. We will answer the questions.
Thank you so much. That's been a wonderful session today with us, Kim. Thank you for your generosity, your inspiration. I've learned so much, and I know that our audience has as well. And thank you to Mel there in behind the scenes. It's just been fabulous having you here today. And this is our last Lunch and Learn webinar for the year. So to all our audience, we're really looking forward to bringing you.
The best to last.
That's right. Another program next year. So we're really looking forward to that. I think we're going to finish off. We're just going to throw to the Griffith's new Make It Matter campaign, which is aligned with Griffith's values and Kim living your life today around making what you do matter and making the communities that you live in and contribute to a better place. So the campaign was actually directed by another Griffith graduate, Maeve McKenna, and we've got a bit of a behind the scenes look at that. So I'm just going to see if we can throw to that. Yep, Kai's ready for that. So thank you very much, Kim, and thank you to everyone. Safe and happy holidays.
What I love about this campaign and what Griffith stand for is that it's purpose-driven and it's highlighting what the students' purposes are without being too prescriptive. My name is Maeve. I'm a director and also a Griffith Film School alumni. We have this whole array of students where some of them are really career goal driven. Others, they're going to Griffith because they know it's a supportive environment and they're free to explore and learn about themselves, or they want to show their kids that if you put your mind to something, you can do it after hardship. You can have your own unique purpose for studying, and whatever that might be, Griffith will support you in it. I always loved storytelling from a young age. I enrolled in Griffith Film School wanting to learn more about the craft of filmmaking and found that being behind the camera and directing was far more impactful for me. I just loved bringing all the elements together and bringing out a performance in a non-actor. It's actually been really fun to bring my own experience of being a student at Griffith and be informed by it as I've been directing. the heart of this campaign and the message it's sending has resonated with my own experience of Griffith and finding my purpose there, the art of storytelling.